So, on this special edition of this podcast, I'm joined by Spurs commentator Rob Daly. Thank you for joining me, Rob.
No problem, Regan. It's a pleasure to be here and an honour for it to be called a special edition.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it's that special having me on.
yeah, it's great to have you on, Rob, because people will recognise your voice from Spurs TV and Spurs Plays, which has been a big success this season. What has it been like to commentate on the team this season, especially under Antonio Conte, so far?
Brilliant. I mean, we're recording this in the immediate aftermath of the best match of the season so far. You know, the 6-2 Saturday win against Leicester, and the comeback game for him in Son. In essence, I spoke to him after the game, and I think that interview's going up actually on social media or something today. But it was, when you're around that group of players, a lovely group of players, and a winning team, it makes the job very easy, in a way. You can just, when they're having these brilliant games and Son scoring goals like that, and you can just completely let yourself go and enjoy those moments. It's the moments, and there probably have been too many of them in the last 3 or 4 years. But like Sporting, where the team loses late or the team's flat or wherever it might be, those are the tougher moments. But overall, it's been since Antonio Conte came in, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this podcast is called Sensational Spurs, so no surprises who you think my favourite player is. I mean, speak about Son, because obviously Son's going through a dry spell, but now he's certainly come back into form there with two sensational goals and then a great goal which was checked by VR to make it a treble of strikes at the weekend.
Yeah, and he was, when he was talking to me and Ben Haynes after, he was like, "Oh, they were lucky, all three were lucky," he said, and we were like, "What are you talking about?" But he was then talking about how much bad luck he'd had early in the season. He knows that his performances haven't been the best, but he said he's had really unlucky things: a shot blocked that would have gone in against Southampton by the arm of the defender. He's hit the bar, he's hit the post. Keepers have had worldy saves against him. Who was amazing against him, actually? In a home game. Oh, Bernd Leno. Bernd Leno was ridiculous.
Yeah, against Fulham, because I remember did he not smack the post as well against Fulham?
Yeah, but he hit the bar.
Yeah, hit the bar.
So the one where Kane dropped the ball over the top. So he'd obviously been in a bit of a rough spell, and it had affected him psychologically, as he sort of explains on the show. But he sort of feels like he's through the tunnel now. He just needed that first goal, and not bad timing, a couple of weeks before the next game in a North London derby.
Yeah, obviously I said on the show last week that I felt it was the right time for Son to drop out of the team because of his form, but I wasn't saying it in a bad way. I've seen it because of obviously the striking options we've got now at Spurs is amazing. I mean, you look at the front three we've got in the front four now, it's amazing. Because I think, especially with Son going through a dry spell, now that just shows he's got the perfect opportunity, those 3 goals, to hopefully make him a better player now.
No, I think so. I mean, it was a case of Antonio Conte was trying to stress this before the game, wasn't he? Because everyone was geeing themselves up for the idea of Son coming out of the team as part of this new rotation that Antonio Conte says team has to do it. He was saying we've got 13 games. I think he was actually saying in 41 days, but it's actually 42 days. But it's still a ridiculous schedule once we're through this international break.
Yeah.
They have to rotate, and Kane's going to have to be on the bench. At some point, there's no way Kane's starting all 13 matches.
No.
I don't know what games he's on the bench for. Forest away, maybe in the Carabao Cup at the back end of November, but there's got to be somewhere else in between where he drops out. So Son dropping out was inevitable, and obviously the fact he hadn't been playing as well as he had been at the back end of last season played into the idea that he was dropped. But he was rotated out. The front three that started played well, but I don't think Richarlison looked tired, I thought, because he'd had that run of games. He played it was 4 or 5 starts in a row. So he came off, and then Son came on, fresh legs, eager to prove something. Leicester leaky at the back. It was almost like the perfect way to get him back in the groove, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to put you up, Rob, but the thing you spoke about there was maybe dropping Kane against Notts Forest in the League Cup. The only thing I would say is that obviously the big thing for Spurs now is to win trophies. So I don't know if they'll put a bit more pressure on the league.
Okay, I think that's fair, but I was actually, I don't know why I was thinking about Forest today. Oh, I was looking at the dates, and I was thinking about Forest in the League Cup, which I know is 13 matches away. Should be thinking about Arsenal away, but I was thinking about that game in terms of rotation because obviously Forest have had a tough start to the season, haven't they?
Yep.
The priority for them after signing 89 players is to stay in the Premier League. So I think that League Cup game, they'll rotate, they'll play all those other players that are not starting on a regular basis. So they'll play a second string.
Yep.
And it will be an opportunity to rotate Spurs side, I think, quite dramatically. I know we're looking ahead to a match in like a month and a half, but I think that game there will be quite severe rotation, if you like. But I think Antonio Conte showed that he's not afraid to make 4 or 5 changes. He's been doing that recently. And the three that everyone's talking about in a sense, and I think we all know where we stand with Jed Spence at the minute. I think Conte sees him as a project who isn't ready for his team at the moment. But Doherty, Skip, Basuma, he sort of clarified that the 3 of them will come in after the international break. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch what Conte does with that rotation.
I think it definitely is. You'll probably notice, but I'm a bit of a Spurs encyclopedia where I kind of know a lot of stuff from past and last season as well. I know this is not relevant, but thinking about Leicester, right? Thinking back to that game last season, the 3-2 game. Thinking of you commentating on every Spurs game, what was it like to commentate on that game on those last few minutes at the King Power Stadium?
No, that was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, it's I think in any other season, in any other Premier League season for Spurs, you'd look at a result like City away and what happened, concede a last-minute penalty, you get scored, you draw in the game, and then Kane pops up with an even later winner.
Yeah.
You go, that's your match of the season. You can't top that. But whenever people talk about the best game of last season, they do talk about Leicester because of the extraordinary, Spurs lost. I think it was supposed to be 5 minutes of added time or something. And I don't know if that's definitely right, but I don't remember there being like 9 minutes of added time or something given. And then Spurs had lost 94 minutes, 52 seconds, 2-1 down. And then, I went bonkers for the equaliser because I was like, what a moment. He hadn't scored in a while, had he, Stephen Bergwijn? And then he did that. And then there was his most iconic moment in a Spurs shirt, even including his debut goal against City. It was amazing. It's why you love working in football for those kind of games. And I sort of the same way you sort of bounce at the stadium after 6-2 Leicester. All the commentators, like who was there? Like Peter Drury was there, and Conor McNamara was there for BBC. And it's funny, like we're all leaving the stadium just looking at each other because we're all up in the gantry, just like, what was that? But like in a good way. Like that was joyous to be at. So you sort of felt like that off the back of Leicester. It was and then people did like the commentary, so that was really nice.
Yeah, obviously we've got a small matter of the North London derby next week. What's your thoughts going to head into that?
Well, I was asking Ben about it on the show, and I was like, "How do you feel about this one?" And I don't think it matters like what form teams are in, and Arsenal are obviously in good form, but he just hates any North London derby at the Emirates. Just like he said, if it was at Spurs, he'd be up for it. But he says any game at the Emirates just seems to be relatively miserable. And there haven't been many results there. Let's face it, a bit like Stamford Bridge, maybe. There just haven't been the results in recent years. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think Arsenal are a good team. Contrasting styles.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that kind of puts me in a kind of worry, because you look at the way that Spurs approached possibly the game of the weekend in the first 20 to 30 minutes. We kind of let Leicester have the ball and we kind of sit back. If we do that to Arsenal, I think they could cause a lot more problems.
I think that would be the argument in Arsenal's favour, wouldn't it? That if you give Arsenal too much of the ball, they'll do clever things and break you down.
Yep.
But while a lot is being made of the fact that Spurs are happy to, is it concede possession to the other team, and the team's winning, I mean, even first half Wolves, that was uncomfortable, maybe too uncomfortable, really, first half against Wolves. Had they had the centre forward, maybe they would have gone in ahead of half time. But it's a way that's working. And if it doesn't work at Arsenal, if the team's beaten 5-0, then maybe you can analyse it to the nth degree. But if the system that's been working and taken a point off Chelsea, drew away at West Ham, has won all these home games, if it doesn't work, then that's just football sometimes. I don't think Conte's doing anything wrong with the way he's setting up the team. I do not. And Spurs could go there and win. It feels really close to me. But I'm on that point. I'm not worried about that. In a way, Arsenal could win like that. But Arsenal fans will be thinking, oh, we're going to have the ball, and then Bentancur's going to win it and Son's going to score. That's what they're going to be thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
That the counter attack, the playing out from the back, which just move really quickly to Kane. They're going to be worrying about that the way Spurs fans are worrying about the Arsenal thing. So they sort of cancel each other out for me. I think it'll be tight, whatever happens.
And I suppose the big thing for us this season is we've got a new coach in that's working in set pieces and working on the centre backs as well. That seems to be working. Because you look at Dyer, you've got Sanchez, you've got all these players that I've seen to really do well this season.
Absolutely. I mean, Gianni Vio is an attacking set pieces coach, and the rewards are already there. The appointment of a man on probably a very good coach's salary, brought into the staff, widely admired as one of the best set piece coaches in world football, is brought to the club, and you are suddenly scoring lots more goals from set pieces, like instantly, like an instant difference. That the headed goal numbers is the one that stands out already. And I know a couple have been from open play, say Kane, Forest, and Kane. Another open play header, Regan, for Spurs this season? Or have they all been from set pieces?
Southampton first day of the season, Eric Dyer, maybe. Yeah,
but that's true. But that was a recycled corner.
Oh, true.
You're right, but I would classify that as an open. I think the stats said that was a set piece goal, but
okay.
I agree with you. I felt like, well, the corner went in and it came back out, so now we're in open play. But they were still forward from the corner, so I get the argument. But Chelsea away got a point. Southampton goals. Yeah, the goal for Kane against Leicester. I mean, it's just ridiculous. 8 headed goals in the Premier League all of last season. Spurs have got 7 already. And we're 7 games into the season, 31 games to go. So it's just, I feel the team was very Kane and Son dependent. It was under Jose. Jose, I think, did work something out between the pair that was very good.
Yep.
Now it feels like there's goals from wing backs and how the team can work it wide. There's this going narrow through the middle with Kane and all that, and set pieces. It feels like Spurs have got various routes to goal now. And while they might not be, tiki-taka, Barcelona 08, 09 kind of thing, there's more than one bridge to Manhattan, isn't there? So yeah, Spurs have got a few.
I want to ask you about your favourite moments doing Spurs TV or commentating Spurs, because I think I know what you're going to say. But I want to ask you first.
What would be my favourite? I don't know if you would know, Regan, because obviously I'd go. You could go Lucas, right? Lucas Moura's at Ajax, and you could go Bergwijn at Leicester. But there have been some games that might surprise you in a way as to like being close to that. They're like City at home, first game under Nuno.
Yes.
Like, that was really special. Like, if you were there,
surprising.
Like Son's brilliant. So I think he described that one as a miss hit, but that goal past Edison, Kane wasn't there. We all know what happened with Kane that summer in City and blah, 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 blah. So that'd be up there. The win against Arsenal last season was probably the best night of the new stadium.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was at the game.
There.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like the atmosphere, the place was just cooking. It couldn't have been more perfect for Spurs. But, second half hat trick to turn around the Champions League final. That's that probably does have to be it, doesn't it?
Some of the other
Probably.
ones of it I was thinking about was the game where Spurs beat Wigan 9-1.
Yeah, that's pre my era. That's pre me. I started in 2018. So 18-19 Champions League run was my first
Yeah.
season.
I'm just
But I think for Spurs fans, that's a game that is just like bombing the. That was Jermaine Defoe, wasn't it, and all that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thinking about that 2018, 2019, a game that probably would stand out for me then would be the Real Madrid game at home when Dele Alli and Ericsson were great.
Again, Regan, that is just before my time, sadly. That's 17, 18.
Oh, there you go. Aye.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the reason it blurs in is because there was the Wembley group stage in 18-19, wasn't there? So that year was the actually quite tough group stage where Spurs sort of blundered their way through a little bit, of Barcelona at home, Messi. That was one of my favourite nights commentating on Spurs. Lionel Messi at Wembley, just
He was amazing that night.
Oh, it was, but that's what anyone was talking about after, like Spurs fans even. It was 1 point from 2 games. Drew at PSV, then lost that game. Yeah, 2-2 PSV. Oh no, lost to Inter. Lost to Inter.
Barcelona. Was it not draw against Barcelona? Lucas Moura.
That's the one where Lucas at Nou Camp on the final group game. Yeah, but that night was really amazing. And I'm jealous of people who were at the Real Madrid game because that's one that is, particularly when the topic of Daly comes up.
Yeah,
that's the one that always comes up as like quintessential Daly at his absolute brilliant best.
Speak about that then, because I think it's quite sad the way that he's went down, because it was for some of those years it was amazing.
He was, and I mean, I'm sort of conflicted with this. It's interesting because I think there is, among the Spurs fan base, there is a little bit of sadness that he hasn't gone on to become like the Steven Gerrard of the 2020s or something. But I also think in the fan base is like an unbelievable amount of empathy that his name is, if you're in the South Stand pre-match, just it's a "We got Ali." I just don't think you'll still hear that song about Dele Alli, and everyone wants him to do well, don't they? Spurs fans, even at Everton, they were like, "We want him to get back to it."
So you'd have been too early for the Dele Alli goal against Crystal Palace.
Yes,
you'd have been too
early for that when he was like a stick of a man.
Yes, amazing that goal.
Yeah, ridiculous. And he was doing amazing things on a regular basis. But I feel bad talking about his. If you're him, you must be so sick of hearing people talk about it.
Yeah,
you're declining all this. But he got to. I think he got to 50. What did he get to for European appearances for Spurs? Got to a really good number, like 50. He set records as a young player. Maybe his peak will be this sort of 17 to 24, 25. But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. I just hope he does really well in Turkey. Really do.
Who would be your favourite players to watch? Maybe of all time and now.
Are we just talking Spurs, Regan, or do you want the full shebang?
We can talk about Spurs first and in general.
Well, the Spurs one is I'm going to give the most lazy answer, because I think like the cool answer is Moussa Dembele, or the cool answer.
That's what I said last week.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, the reason. Obviously, he was beautiful to watch, wasn't he? Amazing footballer, and he's the one player, or the Spurs players say, he's the one that when they go to Danny Rose or Kieran Trippier or Jan Vertonghen, who was the most skillful player at Spurs? Moussa Dembele. They just go, you can't believe how good he was. So you're like one of the Spurs players, Regan, but it's Harry Kane.
Yeah, it's Harry Kane.
It's Harry Kane. Like if you're just going, I wrote about him in the program the other day, just about how I become normalized to how ridiculously good he is. Because the Fulham 2-1 win, I watched that back because I was doing analysis for N17. Like we build clips that we then put in the show. And I was doing an analysis feature on Emerson Royale. So I watched the full Fulham game back. Kane was the best. It was 10 out of 10. He was the best player by a mile. He was insane. But you just take it for granted that he pings 60-yard balls and, all this stuff. So So yeah, Harry Kane.
Okay, Rob. So you spoke there about Royale, right? And I spoke about this last week because a lot of people said after the Lisbon game, Emerson Royale is not very good. I don't know why Conte keeps picking him, but I think he's done very well this season.
I actually put forward what I thought was quite a compelling case as to what he's bringing to the team in the minute. I think ultimately, wing backs in a Conte team need to produce goals and assists at the other end. They do. You need them to be chipping in, and he isn't doing that at the moment. He has one assist for Kulusevski. I'll give him half assist for that Salisu own goal, which was all his work against Southampton opening weekend. He won the ball, played 2 passes, got to the byline and cut it back. But the way he senses danger, his work rate, how quick he is, his timing of tackle, generally those things are extremely, extremely strong. And what the issue is going to have in terms of competition with Doherty and Spence is that moments like Sporting, where he had his 2 chances after half time, he's got to take one of them. And this is where Conte is going to want, like Perisic did at Inter, like Candreva did at Inter, like other players have done for him at wing back, who's converted to wing back before. You have to score the odd goal. You have to get the odd assist because the team is built so much in a way to exploit the skills and pace of wing backs.
Yeah. Rob, I know you need to go soon. So tell us a bit about you and where what people what kind of stuff you're doing, where people are able to find you as well.
Well, like I am, so I was a journalism student. I just did journalism at uni. You're studying radio right now, so you're in the right world. I did radio first, and then was a news journalist for a long time, reading news bulletins and interviewing people, and then started doing a bit of sports at the weekend. I wanted to do sports, so I started to phase out the news when more and more sports work came in. So I started in 2004, and I probably went to my first game close to 18 years ago this month, because it was I was covering Colchester United at the time, and now I commentate for Spurs. I work for a channel called Premier Sports, who have a lot of the Scottish football, which you might well watch yourself, Regan. I do their Premier League. They have Premier League coverage in Ireland. They have the 3:00 kickoff. So like I did Liverpool, Bournemouth for them in Ireland the other week. And I'll do a bit of Nations League for them. And then I work for the Bundesliga on their world feed commentary. So if you're watching on Sky or ESPN in America, you can hear that. And then what else do I do? Host Champions League radio show for UEFA. Got a baby. That takes up a lot of time.
Nice.
But that's it. But tell me, Regan, before I need to know your story before you dart off.
So, basically, I've got a weird story. So, I always wanted to do radio, but I couldn't find a way in. So, I got my HND at college for sports coaching, and then I started a podcast to get into uni to try and do radio. So, I done that. And now I'm 3 years in, and I'm trying to do as well as I can. I mean, I've been supporting Spurs since I was 12, and I'm 24 yesterday. So, yep.
Oh, happy birthday for yesterday!
Brilliant.
Thank
you. So, yep. I mean, I'm just plodding away. I'm enjoying the team so far, and yep. Hopefully they can bring home a trophy this season, because
that's what everyone's saying, isn't it? That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to get down. I'm going to the Liverpool game on the 6th of November, so hopefully I'll get down.
Oh, big one. That's a good game to be going to.
Yeah. I mean, I know I did say to you, Rob, to talk to you about your favourite players, not about Spurs. So I know we've got a short amount of time with you, so do you want to talk to us about that?
It'd be Zidane. Definitely Zidane, yeah. And I think that was because my dad adored him. My parents are Irish, so I love a load of old Irish, national team footballers like Roy Keane and all this kind of stuff.
I've got
Sorry, Rob,
but I've got a Roy a Robbie Keane and Terry Sheringham frame Spurs top in
Oh,
my bedroom. So it's a prized possession for me.
did you get that yourself, or was that a
I
was that a
did.
gift or something? That's you got those signatures.
No. Someone I know got it for me. I've also got a Tanguy and Dumbelly top that I got as well. And I also got a Bale signed as well.
Oh, that's good.
I've got
That's it. Come on, let's get. Come on, Gareth Bale's the club's best ever players. That's a good one.
yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, but I'll go Zidane. I loved Zidane. I loved Steven Gerrard. I loved Messi. You know, from my lifetime. You know, I'm born mid-80s, so these guys who were sort of when I was sort of really into it, they'd probably be the three that I was like, these guys are unreal. So yeah.
For me, for me watching Spurs, it's Modric and Van der Vaart. I don't know if you'll remember this, but do you remember a goal Modric scored against Bolton? I know
No, of course, yeah.
Scored
Yeah.
one against Bolton when Spurs won 4-1, and it was right in the top corner. He also scored one against Liverpool at White Hart Lane.
That was a very good goal.
Yep.
That's a famous goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then Van der Vaart, obviously the goal at the Emirates, and then the loads and loads of goals at home as well. So, yeah, they've been my kind of two personal favourites, and then you've got.
Well, it'd be nice to get Real Madrid in the knockout stage of the Champions League, wouldn't it? And have a little Luka Modric reunion. That'd be nice.
Well, it would be nice in some way, but then I would quite like to get to a final again and see Conte with that.
So you don't want to play Real Madrid, yeah.
I think we'll save them until the final, Rob.
Good idea, Regan. Let's put that to Conte. So, don't just wait to the final and then
I've got two more things before we go, Rob. What do you make of Dyer going back into the England squad?
I've been calling. I mean, I've been banging that drum for ages. I was amazed he wasn't in the June squad. I was saying to people, he's in. I was like, he'll be in that. That's no problem. And then, but look, the issues at centre back are apparent for Southgate, aren't they? Mings in and out of the team at Villa, didn't start the season there. Cody wasn't going to get a look at Wolves, now playing at Everton. And who's the other centre back struggling? Maguire, obviously.
Yep.
So Dyer had to go back in, and I think England are their best and most stable with the back three, and I can't think of anyone. If Antonio Conte is saying Dyer's one of the best players in that position in the world, then he has to be in. Deserves it.
Yep. The other thing I just wanted to ask you before you went was, what's your prediction for the game next week at the Emirates?
Oh, Regan, why have you done this to finish it? What do I think's going to happen? I think it's going to be a cooking atmosphere, isn't it? It's going to be busy at the Emirates. 2-2. 2-2.
I think
Jesus. Jesus will score, and then Kane will score, and then Richarlison, and then he'll do something that annoys everybody.
I'm going to be ultra positive. I'm going to say 3-1.
Oh, wow. You'd say that, wouldn't you? I'd send Spurs top of the table, wouldn't it? Spurs top of the table.
It would. And I think finally on Conte, have you managed to speak to him this season?
No, that's Miles's job. That's Milesy. Me and Ben get some of the players sometimes. That we've had Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Japhet Tanganga. Matt Doherty crashed the show the other day. That was funny. And then we've had Sonny this season. Who else have we had? We've had someone else. How many games have there been? We had Pierre when he scored against Fulham. Who else have we had? Because they come on and analyse their goals.
Yeah, I've watched some as well, actually. So
I can't remember who else. Memory's awful, man. Memory's awful. But I haven't. But everyone loves him at the club. He's a very, very popular character. And I had a mate at Chelsea, commentator at Chelsea, text me say, "Oh, you got Antonio Conte. He's a great guy." That would be lovely. So no, he's very popular, and hopefully I'll get to chat to him one day.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on, Rob. It was great for you to do that because I'm trying to get as much Spurs content out there as I can, and I really appreciate you coming on.
No problem, Regan. Now go off and enjoy Aurora Borealis. The Northern Lights are calling.